All right, what's going on, everybody? A very happy Monday. It's good to be back here. I took a day off on Friday, kind of an extra day off for a long birthday weekend. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. I had a great time with family and friends, and it's great to be back with all of you. I hope you all missed me. All right, I hope you all missed me. But in all seriousness, it is great to be back, and thanks everybody for joining us on this very busy news day. I think we all could agree there's a lot going on right now in the world, a lot going on in this country. If you haven't already noticed, Pete Hegseth, there is a strong possibility that he could be losing his job this week. There's some more revelations that have come out. We are certainly going to be talking about that with all of you. And also getting into this Nancy Mace situation where a guy comes up to her, one of her constituents, it looked like in a supermarket, and she starts telling him to F off, and it's just a crazy video. We're going to play that for you as well. So we are going to get to all that stuff and be talking about it all and getting to everything with you. But before I do that, I wanted to start with my guest, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about what took place last week, because it seems like in the news cycle, and we'll get to the Pete Hegseth stuff, we'll get to the Nancy Mace stuff, we're going to get to all that. We're going to take all your calls. We're in the YouTube super chat where your questions and comments will be heard. We're live on TikTok. We're live on the Occupy Democrats Network. We're on Twitch. We're on my personal YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. Just FYI there. So we had that shooting that took place on a Florida campus where a couple people sadly lost their lives and others were injured. And then we had another incident that took place at another school. And it seems like this is something that, well, it doesn't seem like it is. It's something that seems to happen way too often. One life is too many lost. And as I mentioned, at Florida State University, we had that shooting that took place. And yesterday, April 20th, was the anniversary of the Columbine high school incident that took place there. I was in college at the time, and that was like the first big one that took place in my lifetime that raised a lot of eyebrows. And then we have this 17-year-old at Wilmer Hutchins High School. So this is something that is talked about way too much. And I wanted to, sadly, but I want to talk to somebody where this obviously hits home. It hits home to all of us. And certainly it should to all of you that are listening to this show. So the guy joining us on the show right now, his name is Brett Cross. And certainly it's very sad for me to even have to bring up the Uvalde shooting where so many innocent young children had lost their lives. And his story, sadly, is very similar to a lot of other stories where so many lose their loved ones and their children, where they drop them off at school and then they never see them again. And it absolutely breaks my heart. He is the parent of Uzziah Garcia, who lost his life in the school shooting at Uvalde. And Brett is nice enough to join us now. Brett, it's really good to see you, my friend. I'm so sorry for what you and your family have had to go through, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to join us on the show. Brett, how are you, sir?
I'm doing, another day, another shooting, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine, Brett, every single time you hear about one of these shootings, you think about your son and you think about what your family has had to go through, right? I would imagine.
Oh, 100%. And it goes even deeper than that, because when I hear about these things, the time is really weird, because I sit there and I'm like, okay, it's been 2 hours. Okay, now they're starting to notify parents, because our shooting took place at 11:33. We weren't told until 8 o'clock that night. So as the news is coming out and spreading to everybody, there are parents that still don't know that their child is no longer here with us.
And you had to go through that as well. I wouldn't want anybody to have to go through what you and your family have had to go through. Before I get to these latest shootings that took place, I can't imagine how you feel about this, but I remember the days after Uvalde, even the day of, that the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, who I think is a despicable human being, did not cancel a campaign event where he was counting money that night, correct me if I'm wrong, when they didn't even count all the bodies in the school, right? I mean, crazy.
Yeah, and to be fair, like this is the same guy that got on national news and told us that there at that time that there were 14 students dead, while we still hadn't even found out. The school wasn't telling us anything. The police at the civic center that we were at weren't telling us anything. And we hear about it on Facebook of all places. And you look around and you're seeing, you're like, okay, there's about 14, 15, 16 families here. So maybe we're the lucky ones, you know? And yeah, he just turned around and said, oh, it could have been worse.
Yeah, I remember when he said that, just like, right, Brett, when Donald Trump the other day said, these things happen. I mean, it's like there's no compassion. And then Ted Cruz shows up doing interviews with the media, said, why wasn't the back door locked? As if a locked door would deter somebody with an AR, right, 15 from shooting the door down. I mean, I don't understand it.
No, it's because this is what they do so that they can try to do anything except to make it harder to access these weapons, because it's a vicious circle. Children lose their lives, the school is shot up, and then the NRA comes out and says, oh, they're about to take all of your guns, so go out and buy more. So then consumers go out and buy more, and so the NRA has more money to give to these politicians who keep this deadly cycle going. They don't care about the doors. They don't care about anything. If they looked at the statistics and the facts, we are more likely to solve this issue, not solve it, but risk mitigation so much if we would just implement common sense gun reform, as opposed to, you know, I hear it all the time. We want to put armed guards. Well, there were 376 officers at Uvalde. They sat outside for 77 minutes. They didn't do anything. There were 4 officers on scene before he even walked in. Every single school mass shooting that has happened in the last 15 years has had an armed guard on campus. They do not stop them. They do not prevent them.
And you remember Scott Peterson in the Parkland shooting, very similar circumstance, cowardly behavior. There's no question about that. And, you know, I think of solutions every single day, because unlike and I'm sure you do as well, you and Nikki, you guys are activists and you do it in your son's name. And I think it's so brave what you guys do. And, you know, Fred Gutenberg is a personal friend of mine. He does this show a lot. He lost his daughter in Parkland. Sadly, you guys have that in common, but you both share that bond of doing things in your child's name. And, you know, I think the age should be 18 to 21. I think these assault weapons should be banned. Period. I think we need to do more about mental illness. If you have to drive a car and get your driver's license, they check your health. You have to get a driver's license. You know, you have to take a physical test, a mental, you know, you name it. Why shouldn't we do the same thing when it comes to weapons? And then what I hear from people is, well, driving a car is a privilege. Owning a weapon is a right. And it's like they have no solutions, right, Brett? They have no solutions except they think more weapons are the answer, which is absurd.
Well, so, I mean, yes, exactly. And that's the thing, is they will tout the mental health. This is one I hear all the time. It's mental health. It's only mental health, right? So then why do these individuals keep voting in politicians that vote against mental health funding? And they do that on purpose, right? So if we keep the mental health boogeyman there, and we never address it, then we can continue to blame it on it, and we do not have to blame the guns. And you know, when they talk about it's a right, I host lives every day talking about this. Every single person that comes up and tells me that it's my right, it's my Second Amendment, just ask them to tell you the 27 words that are in the Second Amendment, because I guarantee you they can't. They take the last half and you know, idolize that part, you know, forgetting 6th grade grammar lessons and everything. And then they want to bring up like DCV Heller, and they can't even tell you that Antonin Scalia wrote the opinion piece on that and even contradicts himself, saying that he went against 200 years of precedent to write it the way that he wanted to.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point you bring up. If you're just joining us, by the way, he is Brett Cross. Sadly, he lost his son, Uzziah Garcia, in the shooting in Uvalde, and he's joining us right now. You know, I talk about these topics almost, it seems like, on a daily basis. As you know, Brett, we had one of the largest mass shootings, I think the largest in American history, right here, the October 1 shooting in Las Vegas. And I personally know somebody that was shot in that shooting. And it's just, I just don't understand where MAGA Republicans will bring up thoughts and prayers every single time we have this horrible tragedy, like what happened to your son. But yet they want to focus, Brett, on banning books, and they want to attack drag queens, and they want to go to the culture wars instead of actually talking about the real issues that American people are facing, right? The economy, losing their jobs, losing their livelihood, maternity leave, not giving women the right to choose. And of course, the violence in this country with weapons that are being used. Why do you think that is, Brett? Why do you think they don't want to really talk to people like you?
Because it makes them money. right? Like I said, if we don't do anything about the guns, there's what 330 million people in America, give or take, and we have 1.2 guns per person. And it's just continuously growing, and we do that because of this BS rhetoric that, oh, it's a right, and we're not teaching the facts. And I mean, this is why Trump said that he likes the poorly educated, right? Because you can get sheep to follow, right? Instead of listening to actual sense and statistics and facts, they choose to go against books that, the last time I heard, I've never seen a book kill 21 people in a school. I've never seen a drag queen kill 21 people in a school. In fact, a drag queen stopped the Club Q shooting. The good
Correct.
guys with the guns didn't. So it's they like to take things that are I don't know how to put this, but like hate charged, right? And stuff
Sure.
that they don't have to have facts on, because
Right.
every single day they'll blame the LGBTQIA community or the drag community on trying to going against kids. But you cannot turn the news on without seeing a preacher or a Republican in trouble for going after children. So it's just wild.
I wanted to ask you, Brett, if you had, and I don't know if you've ever had this opportunity to speak with Governor Abbott privately, but if you had the opportunity to speak with him privately with maybe a Donald Trump and with maybe a group of these MAGA Republicans that don't seem to want to do anything when it comes to all the violence with weapons in this country, I'm curious at this stage, Brett, what you and maybe Nikki would say to him if you had the opportunity in private.
So I've had a private conversation with him. He came down, I think it was like 4 months afterwards, and all he wanted to do was talk about the border. I don't even think he knew what he was here for. Yeah, no.
I can't. That gets me so angry. I'm sorry, Brett. Go ahead.
No, exactly, right. And so, we started talking about this. We're like, hey, can we raise the age or whatever? Like I have ideas, universal background checks, red flag laws, safe storage laws, all of these things that could help, where another parent doesn't have to pick out which cartoon character goes on their child's casket. And he was just like, oh, well, the border. They did Santa Fe with a shotgun, so this wouldn't have helped. And I'm like, yeah, everything else that I said would have. And then I told him, I said, can you name any of the students that were here? Like you're coming down here, you should at least know their names, right? Couldn't. I said, can you even name my child's name? No. So he doesn't even care enough to get briefed on who he's talking to, what child lost their life, what parent of a child that lost their life that he's talking to.
Oh my God. I didn't know any of that stuff. That gets me even more angry and emotional when I hear about this. You're telling me 4 months, by the way. I mean, first of all, let's just call that for what it is. It took him 4 months to meet the families of those who lost their children. First of all, it should have taken no more than a day. Get the information in a day. And then, first of all, the fact that it took him 4 months to do that speaks to the despicable human being that he is. And then number two, why the hell is he talking about the border? Why would he talk? You think that these family members give a crap right now about the border? They lost their kids. They want to talk about gun control. They want to talk about, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Brett. We don't want another family to have to go through what we're going through, right?
100%. And that's the thing. Like, I even told him, I'm like, well, it wasn't an undocumented immigrant that killed my child. It was a 18-year-old kid who had just turned 18 a few days prior, but he didn't care. Right? Like, he didn't care. And I think that he brought up the whole border thing because here in Uvalde, it is like 85% Hispanic, and which is wild of an assumption of him to think that people are undocumented here. It's just his racism and his bigotry that comes to show, because even then, he talks about mental health when it comes to guns, except months before Uvalde happened, he pulled $112 million from the Health and Human Services Fund, which is our mental health funding here in Texas, and sent it to Operation Lone Star, which is his border BS.
Your son never had a chance. He never had a chance. And I'm sorry, I know this is very emotional for you, but this is very difficult, to talk about. He never had a chance. This country failed him. And the leaders in Washington, D.C. failed him. Now, listen, I don't blame every politician. Joe Biden's, in my opinion, Barack Obama. The Democrats, I criticize the Democrats a lot, Brett, but I am not going to criticize them for this. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Democrats are the ones that keep talking about this. They keep wanting to do something. They keep wanting to bring Republicans at the table to come up with some laws that will save lives. It won't save everything. Maybe it wouldn't have saved your son, but it could have. And they don't want to. And what do you make when you see somebody like a Lauren Boebert, Brett, on a Christmas photo with like 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds holding weapons in their hands? I mean, it makes me want to vomit when I hear stuff, when I see stuff like that. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of things, right? Like one, why doesn't she care about her kids? You know, as a parent, your only job should be making sure that they are loved and are raised to the best of your ability. You know, you are supposed to protect them. You know, and when you're just giving out young kids firearms and everything, and I know she's not trained, so I know her kids are not trained.
Right.
It's just wild. Now you're putting it into the hands of children who think, oh, it's okay to just walk around with guns. You know, these are the people that grow up and do these types of acts, you know? And it's baffling to me. And then like at Christmas, right? Because, you know, I'm not a religious person, but if you're putting this on a Christmas card, you are a religious person.
You're sick.
You know?
Yeah, you're sick. I mean,
Yeah.
these are sick people. There are religious people that would never do that. But I think you have to be a sick human being to take a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old or any child for that matter and have them hold a weapon in a Christmas photo. We have an infatuation with weapons in this country. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. I do want to talk about the activism that you and Nikki have done in your son's name, which again, I think is just so brave and honoring your child. Talk about how people can get involved. What do you want to see from people? You know, there are some people that are sick that are, of course, not on your side. But I'd like to think that most of America is. What do you want to see more from them? And what do you want to see them doing in order to help?
Right. So, I mean, I have my nonprofit. It is Rise for You. You can find it at riseforyou.net. And if you don't know what to do, so when people think about helping and everything, they think financially first and foremost. But that is not the only way of contributing, right? Sharing Uzziah's story, you know, we do this a lot. Watch the documentary that we put out. Our organization put together the whole shooting from body cam footage from the police, so you can see that the inactiveness that was done. You know, you sit there for 77 minutes and watch. You know what's going on in that classroom, and you're seeing it from the body cam footage of the actual cops. Watch that. Call your representatives. Tell them that they might not care that if their children are shot and killed, but you care about yours. You know, you don't want that. Call your representatives. And I know that it might seem like a crazy task or anything, but it is really simple. I put out, you know, scripts that you can read. We often give numbers to. Also, theshotline.org, which was created by Manuel Oliver, who lost his son Joaquin in Parkland. They used AI to recreate our children's voice to call to Congress.
That's powerful. Wow.
100%. It's hard to listen to. And it takes like 7 seconds. You put in your zip code, you pick the voice of the child that lost their life that you want to send to Congress, and then you pick your representative and you send it. And they have to, the people in that office have to listen and write down every single time. So if they don't listen to us, they need to listen to our kids.
I think that's a really good idea. And I know in a lot of these interviews that you have done, you talk about your son and how he should be remembered. I'm going to ask you a different question, maybe, because, you know, I lost my sister a couple of years ago, and we've all lost loved ones, and we still hear them, you know, in our heart and in our mind. At least I hear her. And I guess that's the question I wanted to ask you. When you're doing these things, maybe on a daily basis, I would imagine you hear your son, you hear him talking, and he's speaking to you. And I'm just curious, like, what do you hear from him when you're doing this stuff? What do you think he would say? And what do you hear from him?
What words am I allowed to say on here?
Obviously we can't swear because we're on radio, but do the best you can. And
yeah, he would say, kick their butt, Dad. Like, because he was the one, he would always, he wanted to be a cop because he wanted, in his words, he said, I want to help people the way that y'all help me. You know, and he was the kid that would come in and just do anything in his power to take your frown away whether it be funny faces or noises or anything. Like, he did not like seeing people sad. And he just truly wanted to help people. But he was also my child. So he was rough and rowdy and everything, you know? So, people always tell me, because I curse a lot and because, I don't speak like the politicians. I tried that. The politicians don't listen. So now you just get dad. And he would be proud of that. He would be happy about that. And he would stand right alongside with me, if not trying to get in front of me to save lives. Wow. So I think he would say, kick their butt.
Sounds like he was a very courageous young man, and he has some courageous parents. Brett, I have so much respect for you and Nikki and what you guys are doing, because you are literally saving lives in your son's name. And I just have so much respect for you. I would love for you to come back and do whatever I can to help you guys, and what you do with your activism and stuff. It's really incredible. So I just want you to know there's so many people listening right now that appreciate you. And we're so sorry for what you and your family have had to endure. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, but in your son's name, let's keep the fight up. Let's keep doing what we're doing. And I really appreciate you, Brett, for coming on. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you. Any chance I get to talk about Uzziah and try to save lives, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. You're welcome on this show anytime, my friend. Thank you so much for the time, Brett. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. That's Brett Cross, everybody. Man, if that doesn't get you choked up, I don't know what will. That's just, I don't know what's going on in this country. And I don't know, sorry, I'm just, I don't know what type of country we're living in today, where a bunch of 8 and 9-year-old kids could lose their life in a school, and we don't do anything about it. Sounds to me like this was a wonderful young man who was tough. I'm sorry. It just breaks my heart, man. It breaks my heart every time I hear one of these stories of an innocent child that's in a classroom, and in the last moments of their lives, I can't imagine how scared they were, and they weren't there with their family, and that's it's really sad. And I think one of the most important parts of that interview, to me, is when Greg Abbott decided to meet with the family members, and it took him 4 months to do so, and he decided to talk about the border, according to Brett. And then Brett said that he didn't even know their names. Listen, I do a radio show. I know their names, and Uzziah just happens to be one of 22 of them that lost their lives. And the fact that he couldn't name one of them, and he wanted to talk about the border, goes to show you how despicable that man is, Greg Abbott. He is a despicable human being. And yes, I have hatred for him, because I think he's an awful human being with no empathy. And he wanted to talk about the border. And then when Brett told him, hey, wasn't an illegal that did this to my son, he ignored it. Because that's what MAGA Republicans do. They want to blame everything on undocumented immigrants. This was not an undocumented immigrant. This was a deranged 18-year-old who, at the age of 18, the day he turned 18, went into a store and bought thousands of rounds of ammunition and weapons and massacred innocent children. But Abbott has no solutions because he doesn't care. It's not that he can't come up with solutions. It's that he doesn't care. When are you guys going to wake up and smell the coffee? These MAGA Republicans don't care. They don't care about children. They don't care about loss of life. They certainly don't care about anything but getting brown people out of the country. And when are all of you going to wake up and figure this out? And I am not going to sit here and say that Democrats are perfect, but you're damn right. When it comes to all the violence in this country, when it comes to weapons, they care, and they want to do something about it. And again, my thoughts go out to really anybody who has been the victim of any type of violence, particularly when when a weapon is involved, and all those poor parents in Uvalde. Brett is such a wonderful man, and his wife, Nikki, they're just wonderful people. And I wish Uzziah, Garcia, and all those innocent other souls were still here today. And as we know, there are 20 others that have lost their lives that day, and other families that are still grieving, that will never get over something like that. You never get over something like that. What type of country are we living in? My thanks to Brett for joining us. So here's what we're going to do. I need to reset myself and kind of take a couple deep breaths. That was very difficult. And Brett is a great man, and I hope he comes back on. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to reset the scene. We're going to obviously talk about the breaking news. It appears as though Pete Hegseth is out the door. It appears. And I'm going to tell you why. There's some new revelations that have come out in the past 24 hours that are just unbelievable. So we are going to talk about that when we come back. And when we come back, we are also going to be playing a little bit of video for you. Nancy Mace was asked a question by somebody. It appeared to be some sort of supermarket. And Nancy Mace decided to swear at him and throw profanity at him for no reason. We have the video for you, and we are going to play it for you when we come back. Doesn't make Nancy Mace look very good, but she never makes herself look good. We're going to play that for you when we come back. We're going to give you all the latest details on Pete Hegseth and the fact that it appears as though he might be out the door here in the next week or so. I'll give you the reasons why. And then we'll take some phone calls. So we're going to reset. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Uzziah 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part, every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYou101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Little programming note for you. Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, will be debating Pam Hemphill, who was a Jan 6th criminal as well, but she is now anti-Donald Trump. And Enrique and Pam have been getting into it on social media. Well, guess what? They're going to be able to duke it out right here on the show on Wednesday. So you're certainly going to want to tune in for that. We had to reschedule for Wednesday because I wanted to get Brett on the show today. So we will do that on Wednesday. All right. So anybody who listens to this show knows I am not a Nancy Mace fan. She is obsessed over trans people going into restrooms. She plays the victim, but yet has no problem supporting a liable abuser. We know the deal. Nancy Mace, in my personal opinion, is a despicable human being. So, somebody brave, because I think it is brave to be able to address somebody and confront somebody like a Congresswoman and Nancy Mace. So we take you to South Carolina, where a voter didn't get in Nancy Mace's face, never touched her, didn't even raise his voice to her. But he just asked her a very simple question if she would hold more town halls. And that prompted a profanity-laced tirade from Nancy Mace. We have the video for it, and we are going to play it for you, and then we will discuss. Have a listen to this.
I do them every year. You want to keep going? Do you want to keep going and
Are you
keep
gonna do
harassing
it?
me?
I'm asking if
You
you're
could
gonna
have
have any more
gone
town
to a
halls this
dozen
year.
town halls last year.
I asked if you're doing any more this year. It was one simple question.
Yeah,
Are you doing a town
I've
hall
already
this year?
done one. I'll do
Are
plenty
you doing
more.
any more this year? It was a simple question.
You're always invited.
Okay, sweet. Well, look
And
out
by
for
the
an
way,
actual invitation
I
for the
voted
next
for
one.
gay marriage twice.
What does that have to do
So
with me?
I'm just saying, it has to everything to do with you.
Do you think everything about me has to do with gay
I
marriage?
do,
That's your first
absolutely.
stance when you
Yep.
speak with me?
Absolutely.
There's no other humane
If you want to get in my
conversation you
face
can have
about town
me?
halls, you should have shown up
There's
to
no
one
other
last
humane
year.
thing you can talk about me just saying, oh, I support
Uh-huh.
gay marriage.
Yeah.
That's the
Because
only
you're
thing
getting
you
in
have
my
to say.
face about a town hall. You
All I
could
did
have
was
gone
ask you one
last year.
simple question from
Would
right
you
over
like
here
me-
is if you have any plans to have more town halls this year.
I have town
That was
halls
one
every year.
question.
I have over a dozen
Okay.
every year.
Great. That was my entire question. You didn't have to
Yeah.
go into the spiel about
You
everything
could have
else you wanted to.
have come to any of them last year.
Okay. And I'm
I had
asking you
over a
about this year, not
dozen.
2024. But
Where
we're
were
in
you the year
right?
before that?
Okay.
Or the year before that?
It was a simple
Oh,
question. I
because you
asked
know
if
what?
have
Because you
any more that
people
you're
on the
going to
left
this year
are
or not.
crazy.
So I'm
You're
on the left.
absolutely crazy.
I'm absolutely
You are.
crazy.
And get out of my face.
You're insane.
Goodbye.
You're insane.
You.
You're gonna me and you're
Yep.
gonna be voted
Bye.
out so fast this year. I
I'm
can't
not.
wait for you to go
Not.
into
I
the
won by
dirt.
so much.
You're a disgrace to the state. That's what you are. You're a disgrace. I asked you a simple question, and you just to go on this tirade and tell me you.
Yeah. You.
Disgusting.
Get out of my face.
You.
Get out of my face. Try. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
You say me?
Yep, I
That's
sure
the
did.
First thing you're saying is me for
Absolutely.
asking you a question.
Get out of my face
You.
now.
You.
You. You couldn't take me on, baby. Stay the away from me.
Well, there you go.
Hey, sweetie.
There you go. I think we have some other audio that's playing. Sorry about that. I don't know why the audio is still playing. There we go. I don't know what's going on. So there you go. That's Nancy Mace getting into it. Let me be very clear to start. That gentleman did absolutely nothing wrong. She's the one who started swearing at him. She's the one that was being nasty to him. He wasn't in her face. She plays the victim every time. She was not a victim of abuse when she was younger. She's lying about that, and she's lying now. The video shows everything. He did not get in her face. When I hear somebody say you're getting in my face, it means you're right here in my face. He was very respectful. Only thing he asked her was, will you be doing more town halls? She could have said, yes, I plan on doing more. Give me your contact information. I'll have my people reach out to you. She could have been nice about it, but she wasn't. She was nasty. And then she brings up gay marriage, which had absolutely nothing to do with the conversation. Assuming that this guy was gay, which has absolutely nothing to do with the conversation. Because Nancy Mace is a despicable human being, and she thinks it's tough. And then she goes saying, oh, I got this guy. You can't play with me. What did you do? You told him to F off. That makes you tough. There's nothing tough about Nancy Mace. She plays victim in every opportunity she can get. She's a despicable human being. She's not a serious lawmaker. She's obsessed over trans people in bathrooms. She does nothing to help her constituents. She does nothing but embarrass her state with her behavior and the things she says. She's an embarrassment. And somehow she thinks it makes her tough to swear at this guy. All this guy said at the beginning was, can you tell me when you're going to be doing more halls? And then she said, you could have gone to them last year, which is strange. He wasn't asking about last year. He was asking about this year. And then she brings up gay marriage. Who cares what your vote is on gay marriage? That's not. Now, if the guy asked you about that, then you could answer it. That wasn't his question. And then she got so defensive. Again, assumes he's a Democrat. Again, assumes he's gay because he simply asked her a very poignant question. Will you be doing more town halls this year? Now, Nancy Mace is lying. She's not going to be doing 12 town halls. She's a liar. She has done one this year, and I would be shocked if she did any more. But you see, this is the playbook from the MAGA right. And somebody like Nancy Mace, who, again, let me repeat this again because I think this is very important. Nancy Mace is a despicable human being. And I believe Nancy Mace should get a cup check every single time she goes into the restroom. She wants, she doesn't want trans people in bathrooms. Okay, let's see if she's a man or a woman. I don't know. Let's see that DNA test, Nancy, if you want to play that game. I wouldn't have been as nice as that guy was. I would have confronted her. Sure. Nancy, why do you care more about trans people in bathrooms than our children that are losing their lives in schools? Hey, Nancy, Why would you vote for a guy that's a liable abuser? 25 women that have accused Donald Trump of abuse. Why would you support somebody like that? Do you not believe the women that have come forward that have said Donald Trump abused them? Then why should we believe you? I would get in her face and I would say that. And I would give her my name and I would say, you're not tough at all. In fact, you're timid and you're a coward because you wear the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7. What are you going to do about it? You despicable excuse for a human being. That's what I would say. I would say it to her face. I wouldn't break any laws. I wouldn't make any physical contact with her. I never would. I would never want to. But I would say that a few feet away from her, and I would say, what are you going to do about it? Go ahead and call the police. This is a private business. You're a despicable turd. I'm going to get my stuff and I'm going to leave now, but just understand that there are more people in this country that you are that think you're despicable like me than people that like you. And I don't care how many votes you got. You are despicable. Have a nice day. And I would probably say a few other choice words on the way out. That's the way I would treat Nancy Mace. And I would say, cup check, aisle 3. Don't let this alleged woman go into the woman's restroom because we don't know if she's a woman. That's what I would say to her. I would shame her. And I would say, I don't think you're a woman. Prove it. Let's see the DNA test. Just like Donald Trump with the birther issue for 5 years with Barack Obama, that's the way I would treat Nancy Mace. Don't let her into the woman's room because I don't think she's a woman. Prove it, Nancy. That's what I would say to Nancy Mace. That's the way I would treat her. That's the way she deserves to be treated. End of story. So while all this stuff is going on, Pete Hegseth is in a lot of trouble. We all know what happened with Signalgate, and we all know that Pete Hegseth is unqualified for the job, at least many of us that are not MAGA morons. So there's new revelations with Pete Hegseth that have come out here with great journalism in the last 24 hours. I want to start with the Wall Street Journal and other outlets that have reported that Pete Hegseth brought his wife and a former Fox News producer to 2 meetings with foreign military counterparts where sensitive information was discussed. You want to talk about putting our military at risk and our sensitive, overclassified documents out there to people that do not have security clearances? Pete Hegseth did that. Next, it doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. The Pentagon set up a top secret briefing by the Joint Chief of Staffs on China for Elon Musk. You remember, we talked about that on the radio. And we all know at that time, Elon Musk still had extensive business interest in China. After learning about it, the White House canceled that meeting because they knew it would look really bad. Yes, but Pete Hegseth is the one that set that meeting up because he's an imbecile. And then came the purges. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Last night, the New York Times put out a report that Hegseth shared details about the Yemen strike in another Signal chat. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a separate Signal chat. It included his wife and his brother, who obviously don't have security clearances. They had no business being on that Signal chat, but they were included by Pete Hegseth. Now, there's likely more things to happen down the road. And Pete Hegseth was asked about this yesterday at an Easter event. And I want you to listen to this pathetic dweeb and his excuse for all these revelations that have come out in the last couple days. Have a listen to this.
This is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter.
Okay, so first of all, this is not old news. Second of all, these are not all disgruntled employees. In fact, some of these people off the record have actually spoken to members of the media that are still working in the Trump administration. So that's also entirely not true. And thirdly, that's a page from the Donald Trump playbook. Blame the media, call it smears, call it lies. Remember, he did the same thing with all the abuse and the cheating and the lying, and then he had to own up to it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Pete Hegseth's mother, his own mother, warned us, didn't she? She warned us without even knowing that at one point her son could be the Secretary of Defense. She called him a woman abuser. She warned all of us, ladies and gentlemen. We should have listened to her. When I say we, I'm not talking about non-MAGA idiots out there. I'm talking about the MAGA morons out there who still think Pete Hegseth should be the second person and only the second person to have our nuke codes. So the rumors are swirling and the possibilities are out there. And even though Caroline, the liar Levette, who spreads propaganda every single day, says the president still has all the confidence in the world with Pete Hegseth, you know that this has to bother him. Obviously, the woman abusing didn't bother him because he's done it himself. But this has to bother him. I mean, think about that. He's bringing his wife and a former Fox News producer who did not have security clearances to foreign military counterpoints where sensitive information was discussed. There's another Signal chat. I mean, you have to be kidding me. Is this for real? And the White House canceled a meeting that Elon Musk was supposed to have in a Pentagon meeting that had to do with China, when we know that Elon Musk has extensive business deals with China, and the White House knew it was inappropriate. Clearly, Pete Hegseth didn't because he's an imbecile. I don't think he's a very smart person besides being an abuser, and the White House had to cancel the meeting. That's how bad it got, and all this stuff is now coming out. So what are your thoughts about that? There's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot to discuss. I want to ask you guys about Pete Hegseth and these new revelations. Will Donald Trump be forced to let him go? Or will his ego get in the way and he will keep him in there even though he has put our national security at risk? There's been more Signal chats. He put his brother in there. He put his wife in there. He put an old Fox News producer in there. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Of course, we also had Brett Cross on the show who lost his son in the Uvalde shooting. So we're certainly taking your phone calls on that. And I also want to ask you about Nancy Mace. We played some of that Nancy Mace video for you, which is mesmerizing to me how horrible she handled that situation, but not surprising. That guy did nothing wrong, but yet Nancy Mace is calling him a crazy lefty liberal. So we're talking about those topics today, and we want to take your phone calls at 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, as is always, 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-SAVE if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. Let's get right to the phone calls, and let's start off with Courtney. Courtney is first off on PTL. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Brian. Good to talk to you again. It's Courtney in Brooklyn.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for having that gentleman on. I have had 2 family members killed from gun violence.
My
cousin had a domestic abuser husband who shot her in the head in front of the kids.
I'm so sorry. That's horrible. I'm so sorry to hear that.
And then my other cousin was killed because he didn't get off the phone quick enough at high school, and guy shot him. So my feelings about the Republicans and that issue, they don't care. I mean, these people are just collateral damage to their pocketbooks as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. What do you think about, and I'm so sorry to hear what you just spoke to, what do you make of Pete Hegseth? Do you think that Donald Trump is going to have to say, okay, that's it, step down? What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because the problem is these Congress people are the GOP Congress people are so lily-livered. I don't know if anything's ever going to be enough. None of those people are qualified. You got Nancy, you've got Kristi Noem letting somebody steal her damn handbag. She's the head of Homeland Security, but can't secure her own handbag.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
I mean,
she had her
right.
ID and her passport in there. So
Yep.
none of these people should even be in office.
You're right. They have a lot of non-serious people that are unqualified. And here's the key word. It's one thing to be unqualified. These people are dangerous. Pete Hegseth is dangerous. He's putting people that do not have security clearances in more Signal chats and private meetings. He set up a meeting with Elon Musk in a Pentagon briefing about China, well knowing that he has a lot of business deals with China, and the White House had to cancel that. He's putting an old Fox News producer in some of these Pentagon meetings, or allegedly in some of these meetings. And these aren't just, as he would say, disgruntled employees. These are people that care about this country, and there are also people that still work in Trump's administration that have been speaking to members of the media as well. This is not going to end well for Pete Hegseth. It's despicable, it's disgusting, and it's dangerous to the country, my dear. And I really do appreciate hearing from you. It's good to hear from you. Thank you so much, calling out of Brooklyn, New York. Thank you. All right, here we go, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Bill. Bill is next up on PTL. Hi, Bill.
Hey, I just wanted to say one thing about our king that's running this country.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he says about somebody that they're doing wrong or they're doing this wrong, he's projecting what he's doing.
Yeah.
If you follow my drift.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's worse than even projecting. It's lying. I mean, he lies every single day, and that's, it's terrible.
But what he's saying subconsciously is, this is me. I'm telling you who I am.
Right.
By saying it about somebody else, like
Correct.
Biden and so forth and so on.
Oh, I agree.
And I'm not, I mean, it's amazing how these people are in the cult, and they just take a breath and look at this.
Well, Bill.
But anyway,
Bill, exactly to what you were just talking about. I'm going to give you an example. When I took the day off Friday, but let's go Thursday for a moment. Exactly what you're talking about. We had this horrible shooting that took place on this Florida campus. There's loss of life. There's people that are injured. What would Joe Biden say? This is horrible. We're here for your families. We'll be out there speaking with you.
My God.
We need to do something about this as a country. We need to get Republicans. Joe Biden would say all the right things. I think that's when he was at his best, when we had tragedy, his empathy. Joe Biden's a man. And what does Donald Trump say? These things happen because he is a despicable human being with no empathy. People can say what they want about Joe Biden. They could say what they want, even about a Chuck Schumer or a Nancy Pelosi. As much as I'm not a big fan of Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, they still have empathy and they care about people. Joe Biden was the first person to pick up the phone when we had Mitch McConnell, the useless turtle, as I like to call him, who was freezing up and having medical episodes. And you know what? No Democrat in office was making fun of him. Nobody out there was saying, we wish you the worst. No, they were saying, we wish you the best. And Joe Biden picked up the phone. You know who didn't pick up the phone? Donald Trump. Because they don't have empathy, these MAGA Republicans. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about our kids. But listen, they'll attack trans people, and they'll attack people who are gay, and they'll attack people that are not like them, and they'll claim it's because they care about children, but then they want geography to have say over a woman's body. They don't care about you. They don't care about women. They don't care about kids. They only care about themselves and remaining in power. And I will call it out every day because they are some of the worst people that America has to offer, my friend.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm with you, brother. I watch you all the time on
Thank
YouTube,
you.
and
I appreciate you.
Keep up the voice, and
thank you, sir. I appreciate you. That's kind of you to say. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Have a good rest of your day. All right, number to call. This is rare. We have one phone line open. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is calling in next. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
How are you, Brian?
Yeah,
hope you had a great Easter.
I did. Thank you. Hope you did too. What's on your mind today?
What's on my mind? First of all, with Pete Hegseth, I call him Hogseth anyway. Just because he claimed that he's not drinking, he's not going to drink no more, he's reformed alcoholic, just because you say that doesn't make it true. I guarantee you 100% that he's drinking, not while he's on camera, but when he knows he's done
Mark,
he's lifting himself up. 100%.
So Mark, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but even if he's not drinking, who cares? Who cares? I mean, he's unqualified for the job. He shouldn't be there, right?
But exactly. But Trump doesn't care about that. Trump will not get rid of him because he's not qualifying. Trump will get rid of him because he's making Trump.
Mark, we're having some serious issues. Mark, I apologize. We're having some serious issues with your phone. You're welcome to call back. I think we got a bad connection there, my friend, but please call back. It's interesting for all these people on social media that say Trump is the GOAT. They say on social media, Trump's my guy. They say on social media, I want to buy more weapons, but it's interesting because they don't have the guts to call into this show. They're cowards. They don't have the guts. They're keyboard warriors, and they'll say a couple words, and that's okay if they disagree with me. I don't have a problem with that, but they don't want to talk about it. They just want to type, but they don't want to have a discussion. They don't want to have a debate because they don't have the mental acuity to be able to have a discussion with me. But that's okay. We know who you are. Number to call, 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Frank. Frank is next up on PTL. Hi, Frank.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, good.
Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the things you say on the radio. Did you, Hegseth's got to go. They can't get any more bad publicity on him.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be even worse.
Yeah.
And did you see on the social media that Donald Trump's trying to get passed legislation on the voter policy?
Yeah, I did see that. They will do. They will do anything and everything to suppress the vote. They know that the more people that vote, the less chance Republicans have of winning. They know that. And they are willing to do and say anything to scare people. They know that certainly they're not getting the minority vote. They know that for sure. So listen, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I'm a minority. I'm a Mexican American. I'm afraid to go out because they might snag me up.
Well, we can't be scared. I understand why you would say that, but we can't be scared to get out there and vote. We can't be scared to have our voices heard. We can't be scared to have peaceful protest, which I give a lot of people credit for. They've been doing that. We can't be scared to not speak our mind or to call into a show like this and to call out Donald Trump and all of his supporters, for many of them at least, for who they are. They are despicable people. They are ill-informed. They are uneducated. They are bigots, many of them within his base. And these are people that don't want to solve the real issues that Americans are facing. We could be talking about weapons and violence. We could obviously be talking about healthcare. I guess they're trying to come up with some sort of healthcare plan, but it doesn't appear to me that it's going to work. They've had 9 years to do so. We could be talking about the rights over a woman's body. We could be talking about how they want to take away our Medicare. They want to take away our Social Security. They have no real solutions for the American people. How's the war in Ukraine turning out? He said he was going to end the war in 24 hours. Oh, by the way,
about that.
Here's another one, my friend. Remember when Navarro said 90 deals in 90 days in regards to these tariffs? Interesting. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is day 10. Can you name me one deal? Can you name me one deal that Donald Trump has made with? Yeah.
Nobody's coming.
There's not one deal. Not one deal put in place. He said 90 deals in 90 days. We haven't had one deal. Not one.
They don't trust us anymore. They don't trust us anymore.
Well, you know what? When Donald Trump is the president of the United States, I don't blame them, my friend. And it's so good to hear from you, and I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. I want to go back to Mark real quick because he had a bad connection. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, thank you, Brian. The point I was going to make before I got cut off was Pete Hegseth. It doesn't matter if he is qualified or unqualified. What matters is how he makes Trump look. And he's making Trump look pretty bad, and that's the only reason why Hegseth might lose his job. But there's another thing I would like to mention. During the weekend, Senator Kennedy, the white supremacist who walks around, should be walking around with a hood on, he actually stated that I actually think that possibly the deportations are really Trump not doing the right thing, basically. And that's all I got to say. But you know what? If Biden had done that, do you know what Kennedy would be doing right now?
Oh,
he would be drawing up papers for what do you call it? Papers against Biden to
Well, I can tell you right now that if Biden had done a fraction of what Donald Trump has done in the first 8 or 9 weeks of his administration, they would be calling on Trump not only to be impeached, but they would be wanting to throw him in jail. Okay, so Mark, I appreciate your call. It's really strange, crazy times we're living in. Just to reset the scene for everybody, and for any coward who says that I'm not taking their calls, that is absolutely not true. I give everybody the opportunity to call in, and I'll take any call. So that is absolutely and positively not true, and that is excuse for an MAGA Republican who's afraid to have a conversation with me and is afraid to call in but won't admit it. So what they do is they try to make an excuse like I won't take their call. Again, that's a blatant lie. I'll take calls from anybody. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Julie. Julie is next on PTL. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Brian. Hey, so I was at the protest over the weekend, the 5150 protest in rural Texas. And we had about 100 people show up. It went really well, right up until like the very end, you know. First of all, we were putting our signs in the car and everything, and a bunch of those big trucks with their flags and the Trump people that were, zooming by us and everything else, surrounded these cars. It was like the wagon circling, And, when I got my phone out, they stopped. they left and went away once they realized it, but there's definitely like a lot of racism. It's really unreal.
Sure.
I didn't see it here before. This is a nice town. Bernie, Texas, it's a really nice town. A lot of people want to move here and everything else.
Yep.
But I couldn't believe these bad actors,
Well, and there's idiots,
by.
and there's idiots on social media that say you're a paid protester. Those people are what we call morons and misinformation and idiots. Just like the governor of the state of Nevada who said you guys were being paid. He's a MAGA imbecile. Governor Lombardo is a MAGA imbecile, and he's disgusting, and I'm embarrassed that he is our governor. And for any other idiot out there that is claiming that these protesters are getting paid, either show the evidence or shut the hell up, because you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. It's the same imbeciles who say Donald Trump won the 2020 election. It's the same imbeciles who say drag queens are so dangerous and our kids are being indoctrinated. It's the same idiots who think they're infectious disease experts, election integrity experts, when really many of them don't even have a GED. Many of them are unemployed. Many of them have 3 teeth, and many of them can go back and have relations with their cousin. That's who we are talking about here.
Yeah, it's just horrible. And I just wanted to call in and kind of tell you the experience. I was just surprised that it was like that. There was a lot of really great people.
I'm happy to hear that, though, but I'm sorry that you had to deal with some bigotry and some hatred
No,
as well.
it's fine. I mean, this is our duty.
Keep fighting
It's
the
our
fight.
duty.
Keep fighting the fight. Keep doing what you're doing. I promise you there will be a time where I will say it paid off. I know it's paying off right now. We just maybe haven't seen it yet. Wait till the midterms. What you are doing, if the fight continues, it will be paid off. I promise you. Thank you so much for the phone call, and it's good to hear from you, my dear. All right, number to call, 702-221-7283. I'm giving that number out again to the cowards that we call MAGA that are afraid to call in. Let's go to Daniel. Oh, he's not there. Okay, so let's go to Scott. Scott is next up on PTL. Hey, Scott, what's going on?
Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
All right. First, let me tell you, I've been listening to you for a while, and I live in the state of Tennessee, and my representative is the wonderful and God-fearing Tim Burchett.
Oh, no, don't tell me that. Oh, my God.
Applaud me. Tell me I have the greatest representative in the world. He ranks right there with Marge with me. But
can I be honest with you?
anyway.
Can I be honest with you? When I hear Tim Burchett talk, I think of Forrest Gump.
Well, just tell me. I live in Maryville, Tennessee. I am 25 miles right outside of Knoxville, University of Tennessee.
Yep.
Please, God, tell me I do not sound like that.
No, you sound like an intelligent man. Your Southern accent sounds great to me. He's just an imbecile. So when I hear him speak, I think of Forrest Gump. Stupid is what stupid does. I'm ready for him to tell me life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what mega moron you're going to get. I'm waiting for him to say that.
It.
Yeah. No. Let me be very clear. Just because you have a Southern accent doesn't mean you're judged. I just judged him not on his accent, more of the things he says. It just so happens that he sounds
absolutely.
like. It just so happens it sounds like Forrest Gump. That's all.
Absolutely.
Right.
But we had this this past weekend, or this weekend, we had the protest downtown, and I've got to say it was wonderful to see the number of people that showed up for this.
I think that's awesome. How many people you think there were out there in Tennessee?
In Maryville, I'm going to say from what it looked like, we had at least 250 to 300, and that's a pretty good amount.
That's really good. Just to be clear, because I'm taking a census here, we just had someone call in that said they went to a protest and they weren't paid. To the idiots out there that claim that all you guys are being paid, sir, were you paid anything to show up?
The only thing I was paid was people driving by giving me a peace sign.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? I want you to call back again, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for calling in, and out there in Tennessee, you keep up the good fight, and I like your accent, for the record. I like your accent.
Well,
right.
thank you very much, Brian, and I enjoy listening to you, and every chance that my wife and I get, we try to spread you along to everybody else in this
Well,
area.
that is very nice of you, my friend, and please thank your wife for me as well. I'm sure she's a lovely lady because you would not have married her unless she was. So thank you. Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you for calling in. You're great. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, you do not sound like Tim Burchett. What a moron that guy is. 702-221-7283. Todd is next, I believe, on PTL. Hey, Todd, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
How you doing? What's on your mind today?
I'm Todd from Canada. I called you once not too long ago at the end of your show, and I said I'd call back.
Sure. Glad you did. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on today, obviously, so I'll try and. But yeah, I'm curious. Curious about the what you might think, like the. I'm not sure if there's a level of incompetence going on, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But is there like a strategy that's
well, sure.
I don't want to use
I think there is.
terms like.
I think there is.
Like
it's a
win
good
or lose. Or,
yeah, I get your question. So here's the best way I would answer that. Is there a strategy? Todd is asking. Here's the best way I could answer that. Here's Donald Trump's strategy, if at all. He wants to enrich himself. He wants to enrich the close tech billionaires around him, and he wants to own the libs. Now, there are a lot of problems with that. One of them is they would rather own the libs if it means everybody in this country suffers because of it. They would rather rip up our Constitution and non-respect for the rule of law if it means owning the libs. Now, then there's the other part of it, right? Donald Trump...
They're already doing that, though, aren't they?
Yeah. Donald Trump did this immediately because I think it was ego, and I didn't think he thought he could beat Hillary Clinton or anybody. He did it because he thought it would help his own brand. That has not changed. It's been all about his brand, whether it's selling the Trump Bibles for $60, made in China for $3, whether it's all the campaign donations he's received. He's made hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars off of that. Make no mistake about it. Donald Trump has enriched himself billions and billions of dollars since running for office. So this is about him.
He wants to put his name on everything, too, doesn't he, though?
What's that?
He wants to put his name on everything.
Well, yeah, because it's ego. Because everything about him is ego. Everything about him is he wants to put his name on everything because he's so insecure. He's such an insecure man who wakes up in the morning with his 4 hair transplants and his 9 layers of orange makeup and his girdle. And he's so desperate that he wants everybody to kiss his feet because his father, Fred Trump, might have been the worst father in the history of fathers. Fred Trump, that's right, the guy who was arrested at a Klan rally. And he obviously turned his son into a mental midget, for lack of a better term. And this is exactly what Donald Trump has become. So
part of what I'm saying is like so I'm from Canada, so I'd say sorry for saying this. I'm at the point where I actually feel sorry for him, and I know I don't. Makes you like ill.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't. But I feel sorry for people like him. Sorry, I meant to say people like him.
Right.
Who are so pathetic and so flimsy that they.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
$500 million. They can't even like take it easy and just enjoy themselves.
So listen, I hear you, and you sound like a really nice man. You're probably a nicer man than me. But when somebody goes out of their way to hurt innocent people, I can never feel sorry for them. And Donald Trump is that guy. Donald Trump, and I can understand, you sound like a great guy, a nice man. People in Canada are so nice. They're wonderful people. But when you go out of your way to hurt people, whether it be people that are poorer than you, people that don't have a lot of money, it could be about, women in general, or brave men and women in uniform, or people of color. When you go out of your way to want people to suffer, or example, people that were deported, that have no violent record, no criminal record at all, and they're sitting in one of the most highest maximum security prisons, and they admit that they made an error and they refuse to send that person back, I don't feel empathy for those people. And that person is Donald Trump and so many of his administration. But I do appreciate your call, sir, calling out a candidate. It means a lot that I have so many listeners in Canada. I really do appreciate you. Let's go to Yvonne. Yvonne is next up on PTL. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, good, thanks. What's on your mind?
Well, I got a posting on my Facebook from one of my American friends, and they're doing a protest, or not a protest, they're doing a Bridging Our Friendship rally in Port Huron in the waterfront park on Saturday, the 26th from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m., and I'm going to be standing on the other side of the river waving my flag to say hi.
Oh wow!
So any of the Canadians that are listening, if you can get to Sarnia, there's a park right by the bridge there.
Mm-hmm.
We can wave hi to them, and they can wave hi to us.
I love that.
I can't cross because obviously that's kind of
right, of course, but I understand.
Difficult.
Well, that's really special.
It's scary.
And when is this going to happen?
It's the 26th of April, Saturday, from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m.
Great. Well, we hope we can get as many people out there as possible. I think that's wonderful that you're doing that, and I really appreciate you sharing that with all of our listeners, my dear. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Also want to thank Judy, who went on pushingthelimits.live and made a donation on pushingthelimits.live. We'll get to the YouTube Super Chat here in a little bit. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll go over your YouTube Super Chats when we come back. Also want to thank Dave, who went on pushingthelimits.live, made a donation. Dave says, Brian, I love your show. I don't miss it during the week and love what you do. Thank you so much. Dave, thank you for your contribution. We certainly appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Speaking of Daves, let's go to Dave on line 4. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you have the right Dave here?
I think I do.
Okay, yeah, because the Dave that sent you the contribution, unfortunately, wasn't me.
That's
and I got to figure out how to do that.
That's okay, no problem.
And yeah, but did you read? Did you catch a glimpse of Trump's response to the Fox News host who asked him what he thought about the protesters and what
did
do
not.
you think
Tell
they
us.
need right now from you?
I did not. Tell us.
Here it is. Okay, now get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Here was Trump's answer verbatim. Protesters for different reasons, period. You're protesting also because, you know, they just didn't know. I've watched I watched very closely. Why are you here? They really weren't able to say, but they were there for a reason, perhaps. But a lot of them really were there because they're following the crowd. A lot of them were there because what we witnessed was a terrible thing. What we saw was a terrible thing, and we've seen it over the years. We haven't, this was one horrible example, but you've seen other terrible examples.
Why am I not surprised? Well, I think we got disconnected there. Sorry about that. That was unintentional. Why am I not surprised? You see, because in this country, if you're a MAGA Republican and you see what happens on January 6th, somehow that makes you a patriot and some sort of hero, even if you beat a police officer. But if you actually peacefully protest, but you're against Donald Trump, they will call you every name in the book, and they will call you maybe even the enemy of the people or vermin. We all know the guy with the mustache made statements like that, and that's I think that's where we're headed as a country. I really do, if Donald Trump remains in power. This is a dictatorship, and this is an oligarchy. Who are we going to next year? We're going to go to David next? Dave. Okay. Hi, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
I didn't get a chance to finish that.
Okay.
Word garbage.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. My daughter called in the middle, and I pushed the wrong button. Okay. This was one horrible example, but you've seen other terrible examples. You know that better than anybody with what you do. I know it. I've seen it too. I've seen it before I was president. I've seen it. I think it's a shame, and I think it's a disgrace. And he goes on and on with non sequitur.
But that's what he always does, right, Dave?
Nonsense.
Dave, I appreciate you
But
finished.
you know,
yeah.
these toothless people that you describe, they seem to kind of tune into that and understand it in some weird way.
Well, I think they
here's
understand it.
what he meant, you know.
Well, I think you know how many times I've heard MAGA Republicans say, "Here's what I think he meant by that." They curl themselves into their stupid MAGA pretzel, and they try to make excuses. When he talked about injecting yourself with disinfectant, oh, he didn't mean that. He was just joking. He was just joking. He didn't mean that. You know, when he said the things he said about John McCain, don't respect him because he was captured. Oh, he was just joking. Oh, and he said he was going to end the war in 24 hours. Well, he said it himself. He was just being sarcastic. These people are despicable. And so many of his supporters are cowards because they'll be there, tough guys behind their computer or tough women behind their computer, and they'll tweet out a few things or say, Brian, you're a liar. Brian, you don't know what you're talking about. Brian, you're paid by the DNC. But yet they don't have the brain capacity to pick up their phone with their little orange fingers and call into the show because they're cowards. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Bobby. Bobby is calling in next. Hey, Bobby, what's going on?
Brian, thanks for having me on the show.
Sure.
That Nancy Mace video, I got to tell you, that faggot was up in her face, and I'm glad that she went back at him.
No, that's not true. What is your definition of up in their face?
I saw the video,
Okay.
and that fag was right up.
Wait. Okay, hold on a second. You can't, hold on. Don't hang up on him. You cannot say that slur on this show. I will not allow it. There will be no slurs on this show. You're using a homophobic slur. That will not happen. I do not tolerate homophobia. It will not happen. If you want to be an SOB, you can do it somewhere else. I will keep you on the phone. I'm not done talking yet. Okay, you slob. I'm not done talking yet. You said that he was up in her face. In the video, he is a good solid 10 to 15 feet away. So if somebody asks somebody a question from 10 to 15 feet away, you think that's up in their face? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that gay guy turned around and was all right.
Why do you care? Why do you care? How do you, first of all, how do you know he's gay?
Because I'm protecting Nancy Mace.
Okay,
The
so.
guy looked like a gay guy. Look at him.
Okay, so what?
The little
Okay, all right.
The little
All right,
clothes
don't
he wears,
care. I don't
little
care.
high voice.
Okay, hold on a second.
You
Hold
asked me a question,
on a
and I
second.
answered
I'm
it.
potting you down. Hold on a second. First of all, unlike you, I don't care whether he's gay or not. We don't know. I don't care. Clearly you do. Sir, do you have a problem with people that are gay? Sounds like you do.
Am I back on the air? Or
Yes,
am
you
I still
are.
potted there?
Yes, you are. Do you have a problem with
Why don't
people?
you let me know?
You're on. Do you have a
Okay,
problem?
you potted me, and then
Do you have a
let me know
problem?
back
All
on.
right, stop playing the victim here.
I'm just-
Sir, you're getting in my face. Sir,
Nancy Mace. The guy got in her face.
sir, don't get in
He
my face.
obviously is gay because he looks like it.
Who cares? Answer
Dressed
my
like
question.
it.
Hey, dummy!
I'm very happy.
Pot him down. Hey, bigot! Answer my question. What is your problem with people who are gay? Answer my question.
I don't have any problem with gay people.
Then why do you keep bringing up the fact he's gay then? Who cares?
Because he is.
Then who cares? You might be gay. I don't care. Who cares?
It's an adjective, the gay guy.
All right. Well, you're an
Whatever.
idiot. Okay, you're an idiot. Okay, you're an idiot. I don't care what his sexuality is, so stop talking about that. Let's focus on the first idiotic thing you said. And by the way, I do think you're homophobic, and I do think you're a bigot, and chances are you're probably a Trump supporter. So, he was 10 to 15 feet away from her. Why do you consider somebody that's 10 to 15 feet away from somebody else in their face? Explain that.
Am I on the air?
Oh my God, you are
Brian?
you are beyond frustrating. Yes, you're on the air,
First of all-
Mr. Bigot. Go ahead.
First of all, I've got a staunch reputation of being a heterosexual.
I don't care.
Okay?
I don't care. I don't care.
Well, you're the one that's just out there saying that maybe I'm gay. I'm just letting you know.
I think.
I've got a reputation.
Listen, I'm a very.
Number two,
No, you don't get to number 2 yet, idiot. Here's what I think. I think that you have a 8x10 picture of me, this strapping ginger man. It's a poster in your. Well, it'd be bigger than 8x10. A poster in your bedroom, and I think you pleasure yourself to me every night. What do you think about that, you bigot?
and I wouldn't do that, but yes, I did vote for Trump.
What a shocker. Oh, my God.
Number
Wait,
two, I
wait.
voted for Trump.
Bill, breaking news. The guy calling into my show using homophobic slurs voted for Donald Trump. Sir, I'm so shocked to hear that.
Okay, I don't know what you want me to respond. But
Oh, well, there's nothing to say. You're a bigot and you support Trump.
I was definitely about to possibly attack Nancy Mace.
What are you talking about?
What he stood her down. He was there.
What?
And he's obviously, the way he dressed and the way he talked.
Don't care.
You look gay, so I called him
Okay,
gay.
who cares? The way you dress and the way you talk tells me that you're probably an uneducated idiot, and that has nothing to do with your sexuality. You're a moron who voted for Donald Trump. Why don't you admit you're a bigot? Why don't you admit that you're homophobic? Why don't you admit that on this show right now?
Brian, I've been watching your show. You know that little hat you wear?
Yeah. I can't wait to know what you think about that. I really care. I really care.
Do you wear that hat? Is that a symbol of gayness?
Pot him down again.
Like, are you
This
out
guy
there-
has the maturity level of a 10-year-old. Let me tell you something. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think about is, boy, I hope I can make this guy happy. I hope a guy that probably has 4 teeth, who's homophobic, who's probably a racist, who's a bigot in nature. Gosh, I hope he approves of my physical appearance. I really do. Let me tell you something, sir. That's what we call sarcasm. You are the last person on the planet that I would care thinks whatever he thinks about my physical appearance. But I can picture you, sir, if you want to get into physical appearances. I can picture you as a middle-aged, crusty white guy who's obese, who has no education, and a woman won't go anywhere near you. And I know you're a coward and you just hung up the phone. But just to be clear here, you gave us a homophobic slur, which makes you a bigot and an imbecile. You said this guy was in Nancy Mace's face, which he was not. He was a good solid 10 to 15 feet away. You said she stood her ground. She did nothing other than swearing at him, which is not standing your ground. And I am shocked to hear that you were a Donald Trump supporter because, boy, I didn't think that those homophobes and those bigots would support a guy like Donald Trump. I'm just shocked to hear that. So thank you for breaking the news with me. So go ahead and take your mushroom and go ahead and take your body, which I'm sure is very obese, and I'm sure a woman won't go anywhere near you, and have a very nice day, my friend. And thank you for proving once again my point that Donald Trump's base are a bunch of ill-informed and uneducated and middle-aged, crusty white people who are bigoted in nature. Let's go to the MAGA destroyer, Darlene. Hey, Darlene, what's up?
Oh, my God, Brian. Brian, this guy just answered my question I was going to ask. My question was going to be, I wanted to know, was there any callers out there that voted for Nancy Mace or Marjorie? Because I want to know what kind of people are voting for them, and I wanted them to call your show and tell us why did they vote for him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how anybody could vote for him.
Well, I can tell you why.
That guy,
I can tell you why.
He just answered my question.
Yeah, he
He's
did.
an idiot.
Yeah, he is. I can tell you why, Darlene, because a lot of these people also are bigoted in nature. They're homophobic. They're transphobic. They're racist. And Donald Trump gives them a platform to be comfortable in being a bigot. That's why. And I think there also is a percentage of people that are just stupid. They're just stupid and they're brainwashed. I think there are multiple reasons for that.
But if there is any callers out there, please call Brian and tell us why you voted for Nancy Mace.
Please do.
Or Marjorie. I really want to know.
Please do. Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Oh, and one more thing, Brian, before I go.
Yep.
Let me say something to the idiots in the chat room. There's a bunch of them in there cutting you down. You know,
I don't
cut you
care.
down when you can't.
I think it's funny.
When you
I don't
can't
care.
read it, you know.
Oh, I don't
So,
care.
all y'all can kiss my grip.
Thank
y'all
you, Darlene.
leave Brian alone.
Let me be very clear. Thank you, Darlene. But let me be very clear. I could care less what trolls say about me on social media. The fact of the matter is that they wake up in the morning with probably no job and no life, and their only goal, and they think they're powerful, in which they go into a chat and I grow on them like a fungus, and they don't realize they're helping me with engagement and they're watching my show every day. But they'll make statements about me, and many of them, I feel really sorry for them and I feel sad for them. But that's okay, because when I wake up in the morning, I show up to do this show and I enjoy it. I love my job. I enjoy what I do. And I enjoy PTL Nation and all the great callers that call into the show. While they are very upset with what they look like in the mirror, and they feel like it makes them feel better to be a keyboard warrior and say a couple things about me when they don't even understand that they're supporting what I do and they're helping me with engagement. And they're always welcome to call into the show. 702-221-7283. I believe Alan is next. Let's go to Alan next on PTL. Hey, Alan, what's going on?
No, nothing much. Just for future reference, I put a couple super chats up there, and it's ALYN, and you are right, it is pronounced Allen. So,
Thank you. I appreciate your
but-
support of the show, sir. Thank you very much.
No problem. First off, I mean, the whole Pete Hegseth thing is just a whole nother, what about Hillary's emails all over again, free pass. But really, that's not the whole thing I wanted to discuss. It's just that the last town hall that Marjorie Taylor Greene had. I just want to know who sees that and says that's the America I want. You
That's
know,
the-
to
it's a
me,
good-
it almost looked like a Saddam Hussein type meeting. It was just insane.
It's a good question you ask. And I believe the same people, my friend Alan, the same people who want Russia to win the war, the same people who want chaos in this country. You know, the same people who want that are probably the same that, you know, that in that situation that you're referring to that people, you know, support. The Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, the Lauren Boeberts of the world, Beetlejuice Lauren Boebert, Three-Toe Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, the disgrace. These are just bad people. They're horrible people. They're bad people. They want to cut other people down, even some of their own constituents, and they just want clicks. They're not lawmakers. They're noisemakers, and many of them are very, very ignorant people. That's who they are.
Oh, I know. And unfortunately, I live in Virginia now, but I grew up in Colorado and actually have relatives from Grand Junction. And I just was like, how did y'all let her win? I don't get it. And my family are more thinking like me, and they just were shaking their heads like, well, there's just enough of it out here, I guess. And
yeah, you're right. And by the way,
it's just, they don't even know who they're voting for.
You're right. They're ill-informed and they're uneducated. Alan, it's really good to hear from you, and thank you for your support. I really do appreciate your call. And let me just tell you something. It's not just those loudmouths like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Lauren Boeberts. Let's be very clear on this. Any Republican now that still supports Donald Trump, any Republican that voted to give him the power with these tariffs, it's on them as well. To me, they're just as bad. They're the silent morons. They're the silent, despicable human beings. So we can't just call out the loudmouths that we know are horrible people, like the Nancy Maces of the world, like the Lauren Boeberts, like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes. You know, we can't just, Jim Jordans, we can't just call out those people. We also have to call out the people that might be quiet about it, but the way they vote, they support Donald Trump in his agenda, the Project 2025 agenda, in ruining this country. So we need to be able to call them out as well, my friend, and it's good to hear from you, Alan. I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Alvin. Alvin is next up on PTL. Hey, Alvin, what's up?
Hello.
Hi, Alvin.
Yeah. What? You're still not on Facebook. What's happened?
You're talking about my personal Facebook page? What are you referring to?
No. Occupy Democrats.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, they have had major issues with their Facebook page. We're still working on that. However, there is good news. We're still on a lot of the other, we're still on the Occupy Democrats X page right now. We're on the Washington Press page, which is still also owned by Occupy Democrats. They're working on it. I'm in talks with them, and they've had major technical issues for whatever reason with Facebook, with their page in playing live video. That's the issue that we're working with. We'll be back up there. We're on all their other platforms though.
Yeah.
But as I always tell people, the best place to watch my show is on my personal YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show.
UTL YouTube page?
Yes, ma'am. At PTL Radio Show.
Okay. What's your radio station? I can get your radio station, I think. I'd like to listen to you.
Sure. Well, where are you listening right now?
I'm not. I don't have.
Okay.
I can't find you on YouTube.
Okay, so
YouTube.
here's my name, at PTL Radio Show. If you put it on YouTube, Pushing the Limits. Okay, Pushing the Limits is the name of this radio show. If you know the name of the show, just go ahead and type that in. It's at PTL Radio Show. That's the best place to watch on YouTube. We'll be back up on the Occupy Facebook page very soon. But I appreciate you calling in, and thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you'd like to be a part of the program. Let's go to Shelley. Shelley is next up on PTL. Hello, Shelley.
Hey, Brian. Darlene stole my thunder. People in the chat need to quit typing with their Trump fingers and call in and talk to you.
Yeah.
And about Donald Trump and the Constitution, he wanted to rip up. Remember that? Does he not realize the Second Amendment's in there?
Yeah, I don't think he does.
He probably has never read it.
I don't think
But,
he recognizes anything that's in the Constitution.
Right. And I got choked up when Mr. Cross was on there. And a couple more things, and I'll hang up, honey. Nancy Mace is a horrible human being. That man was respectful asking a question.
Yep.
And she called him a slur. And she can't play the victim with this one because he was not in her face. She can't claim assault. So he was nowhere near her face.
Right.
And I don't know if people know this. At the egg roll at the White House, it was sponsored by Zuckerberg and Amazon. And I don't know who else, but that's despicable. I've never heard of a White House doing that. Not even another Republican White House.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Shelley. It's good to hear from you, too, by the way.
Okay, honey.
Yeah,
I'll hang up then.
Thank you so much. Good to hear from you. I agree. I agree with you 150%, and we agree on Nancy Mace. If you're just joining us, just to reset the scene, we had Brett Cross on the show earlier, a very emotional interview. Certainly for me, it was very emotional. He lost his son in the Uvalde shooting, and I just think he's a wonderful man. We talked about Nancy Mace. If you haven't seen the video, we played it on the show, where a gentleman goes up to Nancy Mace respectfully, 10 or 15 feet away, and said, "Hey, are you going to be holding any more town halls this year?" And she started swearing at him, throwing out vulgarities, made a weird statement about gay marriage to him out of the blue, called him crazy, and then is bragging about how she stood her ground. I think it's the opposite of that. She's a coward, and the way she treated him was despicable, but I think we would expect that from despicable people. And yes, Nancy Mace is a despicable human being. The number to call is 702-221-7283. Let's go to Julie. Julie is calling in next. Hi, Julie.
Hey, Brian. Happy belated birthday. I
Thank
tried
you.
to call, couldn't get through.
Yep, I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that.
Ever since RFK decided to say that he could find a cure, there's no cure for autism. If you want research, go to Sparks for Autism.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we are not like, autism is not a disease. It's a adult mental disorder. Yeah, we may think differently, but that doesn't mean we're lower to anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It just,
Absolutely.
it makes me mad when people decide to diss people with autism.
Well, this is the problem. You know, I'm going to rewind a little bit here because Donald Trump goes after the most vulnerable people that need help in this country. You remember when he ran for office the first time around, he made fun of a handicapped man, and he made fun of his hand movements, and he made fun of the way he talked. Now, if he acts like
Yeah, I
that,
remember.
if he acts like that publicly in front of thousands of people, in this case millions even, how do you think he talks privately? And then we have somebody like Bill Maher, who I am so disappointed in, who made the case, well, he was nice to me. It was 2.5 hours, and it was nice to me. He treated me nice. So we don't have a crazy person in the White House. Bill Maher's full of crap. He's only doing that so he could appeal to the MAGA base for his show. And Bill Maher's
He's a
two-faced.
coward.
He is a coward. I am very, very disappointed in him. Bill Maher, and listen, Donald Trump mocks and makes fun of the most vulnerable people. They could be people like you. They could be people that are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. We could be talking about minorities in this country. We can talking about trans people. Just in general, this is who Donald Trump is. He's a terrible human being. And, you know, I think you can learn a lot about a man, the way he treats his family, the way he treats his loved ones, and the way he treats vulnerable people. You know? And I am not, I am far from a perfect person. I have plenty of flaws. I work on them every day. But I will share a story with you very quickly. I was at a Trump rally, and by the way, I have the video to prove this. I've put it on my YouTube page. A guy decked out in all this Trump gear, and he was in a wheelchair. I didn't start talking to him first, but a Democrat, a Kamala supporter, went up to him, started mocking him for being in a wheelchair. I interjected in that conversation, and I said, no, no, no. You can discuss, and even if you want to criticize him for who he supports, all fair game. But the second you start mocking him for having a handicap, you are no better than Donald Trump. And you know what? Her husband said, you're right. Knock it off. And later, at that rally, when I had some MAGA people One of them even hit me with his MAGA flag. I was assaulted, and I have that video. It's up on YouTube too. I had a guy in that.
I remember seeing it.
I had a guy in that wheelchair who defended me. We cannot allow people to attack other people based on their handicap or their skin color or their sexuality, because once we've done that, we've lost the country. And I appreciate hearing from you, dear. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Herb. Herb is next up on PTL. Hello, Herb.
Hey, Brian, I thought that RFK was concerned about kids with autism because the number of kids born with autism has increased. He never said he could cure it. He said he wanted to find out if there were some reasons why the numbers have increased over the years of kids born with autism.
Yeah.
That's all I thought he was trying to research.
Okay.
So I think the lady was misunderstood talking about he was trying to cure it. He never said he was going to cure it.
Okay, so I speak for myself, Herb, and here's why I'm very angry at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. when it comes to autism. He has made the case before that, and it's wrong, by the way, this is medical misinformation, that somehow the vaccines are correlated to autism. There is no evidence to back up that claim. He has lied about that for years. I don't like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because he, in my opinion, is very dangerous. Now, he might, in his heart somewhere, if he has one, be caring about kids that have autism. That very well might be true, even though I doubt it, because I don't think he has an a piece of empathy in his entire body. But however, let's just go with that for a moment. You cannot spread medical misinformation, whereas literally there is no real data to prove that any vaccine, especially those with COVID, have anything to do with the rise of autism. Okay, I listen to medical professionals, infectious disease experts. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is neither. He literally has zero medical expertise, and that's the guy who you support, who voted in Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be the head of Health and Human Services. Are you okay with that?
Okay, so all I'm saying is that there may be some proof in the past that there's no link to autism.
No, not maybe.
Vaccines.
Not maybe.
However,
Not maybe. You're wrong, Herb.
Okay,
not maybe.
okay.
There
Well,
isn't.
wait, hold on, Brian. Let me finish. I'll let you talk. So
Okay. Well, hold on a second.
All I'm saying is that
Herb,
they're going to research. They're going to research some different areas to see if there's some kind of a link.
Okay, there isn't. Hey, Herb, listen to me. I'm not potting you down. First of all, thank you for letting me talk on my own show. I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you.
Thanks for letting
Number
me
two.
talk sometimes.
Yeah, well, I did. So be quiet now, and now I'm talking, okay? It's not a maybe. You always say maybe. Herb, let me spell it out for you. There is no link between the COVID... No, don't Brian me. You're interrupting me. Let me finish. Now, you get angry when I interrupt you. Let me finish. Mark my words and listen carefully, okay? There is no proven link in the history of this country between vaccines and autism. It's not a maybe, like you said. Let's be very clear on that. Don't say maybe because you're wrong, okay? The earth is not flat. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has no idea what he's talking about, and you voted for the guy who beheads whales and stages bear murders in Central Park.
Brian,
no, it's not okay. No, it's not okay. I'll let you talk in a moment. I'm still not done. You voted for the guy in Donald Trump who put somebody in there with zero medical credentials. Let me repeat, zero, who beheads whales and stages murders in Central Park with bears to be the head of Health and Human Services. There's no link between autism and vaccines. Don't say maybe. As I bring you back up, you are wrong, Herb. Go ahead.
Did you pat me down, Brian?
I'm waiting for you to talk. You're wasting my airtime. Go.
Brian, listen to me. So, can you explain to me why there's an increase in kids born with autism as opposed to, say, 10 or 15 years ago? There's a tremendous increase. What is the reason for that?
Sure. So here's the best way I would answer that question. First of all,
Tell me, Dr. Shapiro.
If you shut up and stop being condescending,
You shut up, you dumb.
bottom down. What an idiot. This guy wants me to treat him with respect. And here's how stupid he is, because here's the way I was going to answer it. I was going to tell him that I'm not a medical professional. Clearly, he's not. And I'm not going to answer that question and put out medical misinformation. I'm not a medical professional, but he just proved he's not a serious caller. Now, I could come up with maybe examples of why it could happen, but I'm not a medical professional. Guess what? Neither is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Let me guess. Did Herb hang up the phone? Is he still there? Or did he hang up like the coward that he always is, Mr. Producer?
You answered my
Okay.
question.
Okay.
You
Hey. I didn't allow you to talk. It's my show, not yours. You just tried to mock me and say, let's hear it, Dr. Shapiro. Let me tell you something, you stupid son of a bitch. That's what you are. Let me tell you something. When I had COVID and I was in the hospital and I almost lost my life, I never told other people what to do, you stupid moron. You know what I always told people, Herb? I said, I don't want even somebody like you to be harmed or hurt. I said, listen to your personal physician. I said, listen to your doctor, you stupid moron. And don't listen to people like me, and certainly don't listen to people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I have always been consistent on that. Because you're such an a-hole, you don't listen. I have said that from day one. Listen to your personal doctor and make a personal decision with somebody who knows your medical history. I don't answer medical questions by putting out misinformation or thinking I know everything, Herb. You're just a moron. So why don't you apologize to me, Herb, for being a moron, or maybe apologize to your mother for having you? Which one would you like
Brian,
to do? You are a
Brian,
you are a stupid son of a bitch. Get off my show. That's what you are. You are an ignorant son of a bitch is what you are. You're going to ask me for my medical opinion, and then when I start to answer it, you start mocking me when you're trying to mock me for the actual answer that I was going to say, which is I'm not a medical professional, and neither is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You shouldn't listen to him any more than you should listen to me. You stupid MAGA inbred imbecile, you. Have a nice day, and go F yourself. 702-221-7283 is the number to go. What a stupid idiot. Let's go to Kim. Kim is next up on PTL. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Brian. I had to get in on Herb's call. So, Herb, you are still listening. I am a parent of an adult child with autism. I'm going to try not to. What RFK did and what he said about the rise in autism, I don't think you are clearly understanding. The rise in autism is not because of any other factor other than better diagnosis. If you go back to 1920s, 30s, 40s, children, young adults with autism were diagnosed as schizophrenic and placed in sanitariums. We now have better diagnostic tools. So the better that the diagnostic tools are, the more people that are diagnosed with autism. It is not a disease. It's a neurodivergent issue.
Right.
It's not even a disability. Well, it is a disability, but I don't like to say a disability.
No. Right.
But what RFK did this weekend, as I said, I have an adult son with autism who is struggling even more now with the potential cuts to Medicaid, being told that he might lose services. He's in a tailspin. And he heard what RFK said the other day. And he turned to me and he said, he's right, Ma. I've ruined our family. We all should be killed. We're horrible people.
Oh, that's horrible.
What people don't understand. His words
matter.
Have affected so many
This is
people.
your son, my dear?
Yes.
Well,
22.
And what's his name, if you don't mind me asking?
Christian.
Well, let me tell you something. You sound like a wonderful mother, and I'm so sorry that your son felt that way because of what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said and the things he's done, because it's wrong, and I feel your pain, and I'm so sorry for that. And I think it's very brave of you to tell this story on the air, because people need to understand how not only Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s words matter, the president's words matter, and quite frankly, anybody with a large platform, especially when you're the head of Health and Human Services. So let me just tell you, I'm very sorry. Many of the normal, decent people in this country are on your side. We're on your son's side. We care about you. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has zero medical expertise. He's an idiot. He's an imbecile. He's ignorant. And he has no empathy for people, too, which is a huge issue. You know, again, people can say what they want at Joe Biden, but I'll tell you something, man. Joe Biden would give your son a hug. Okay? Joe Biden would show love to you. He would show love to your son. Donald Trump can't spell that word. And
No.
because he doesn't know what love is, because I don't think he's ever been truly loved in his life either. But let me tell you, I'm on your side. I'm on the side of your son. We are with you. We're going to get through this together.
I know that.
It's not going to be easy, but just make
Right,
sure your son is talking to the right people, and it's going to be okay. All right, it's going to be okay.
Yes, yes.
I promise you.
Thank you for letting me share that. I just wanted to get that out because I know and I've heard people like her before in the last number of days, and they're just not listening. They're picking apart what RFK said and not listening to what he said and the effects of what he said on the community. It's been devastating.
It's been
devastating.
It has been devastating for all of us, especially somebody like you and your son, but we're going to get through it together, and you always have a platform to call into the show, okay, my dear? And I wish your son the
yes,
best,
and
Christian.
kudos to your YouTube chat. They're
Thank you.
a great bunch of people. I'm Boo Boo Bearing.
Oh,
chat.
thank you. Now, good to hear a voice with a name. Thank you, my dear, for your call, and tell your son Christian I said hello, and everything's going to be okay. Let's go to Terry. Terry is next up on PTL. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Hey, Terry. What's on your mind today?
Well, my son has autism. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
It's getting very, very close to me. They sure he has another rare disease. He lost his leg. He just got a kidney.
Oh.
But he's a happy-go-lucky guy.
Good.
And for someone like Herb had a nerve to say what he said, I feel sorry for him. When he going to die, God's going to judge him for that.
Yeah.
Because my son is still God's child. So I'm 69 years old.
Yep.
I have health issues.
Sure.
And I lost my husband 11 years ago.
I'm so sorry.
He's a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. When you live with a child like him and is happy-go-lucky with all he went through, he said, Mommy, I'm still here. And I love you. And I love my sister. And he said, God made me this way for a reason. And let me tell you something. I fight every day for that boy. But let me tell you, somebody like that Kennedy man said what he said, he's going to feel it when he dies. He's going to feel it.
Yeah.
Because nobody is evil as that to do something, to say something like that. And the lady before me, I got my hat to her.
Yep.
I will pray that our children, our sons, will have a life of happiness, not for somebody to be downing.
I agree. What's your son's name? And what's your son's name, if you don't mind?
His name's Bashawn.
Sean?
Bashawn.
Bashawn. Well, to Bashawn and to Christian, you sound like a loving mother as well, and I'm very thankful for that. Unfortunately, you're right. I mean, the head of Health and Human Services has no medical credentials and is putting out, medical misinformation almost on a daily basis, just like Donald Trump puts out lies every day. And as I've said before, and I say again, I believe Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a despicable man. He's a man who's mistreated women his entire life. Those members of his family have called him an abuser. And it seems like, my dear, it is a prerequisite for those that are working in the Donald Trump administration, those that Donald Trump surrounds with. You have to be a woman abuser. You have to abuse people. You have to be harmful to people. You have to put out.
Let me tell you, the Kennedy family do not like him.
Oh no, I agree. I agree.
No, they don't like him.
Well, they've spoken out against him. Yeah.
A long, long time ago, when I was a little girl. Okay, along with Carolina and Jackie and Nelson. It's a long story. The family do not like him. All right, because they always think something was wrong with him, and back then.
Yeah.
And now he's saying these crazy things. And nothing about Donald. Donald's the biggest liar there ever is.
Oh, don't even get me started. And
he still owes a friend of mine millions of dollars when he built that casino in Atlantic City.
Right.
Okay. So I don't.
Right.
So something's wrong with Donald too. But the thing about for Kennedy to say something like that, that's the last straw. That's the last straw.
My dear, you're right. It should be the last straw for all of us. And I really thoughts to your son, Deshaun. You sound like a wonderful mother. And it's so funny because there are people on social media that are saying I broke bread with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They don't even know the definition of what breaking bread is. No, I never had dinner. I never spent quality time with him. He did my radio show. I've interviewed him in person, and I've interviewed him on this radio show. That doesn't mean I've broken bread with him, you frickin' imbecile. Thank you for the call, my dear. I really do appreciate you. Let's go to Keith. Keith is next up on PTL. What's up, Keith?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
Calling from Indiana. If you don't remember, I'm Vivica Fox's boyfriend. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I spoke to Vivica yesterday, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, she's
I
doing
haven't
good.
seen her in a long time.
I'll tell her you said hello.
Oh, great. First, I just wanted to rant. I think this whole administration, two things is about racism and dictatorship. I've said this from day one before he even got elected. It's about dictatorship and racism.
Yep.
He's got everybody believing that, even my friends, I'm a black guy, so even my white Republican friends, he really got them fear-mongering. Just it's unbelievable. He's got them thinking they're about to be replaced, and I think it's the reason why he won his election. He got them thinking they're going to be replaced as a minority, and so therefore you're going to have all these people who really didn't like Donald Trump, but at the same time they didn't want to be replaced. So I think that's pretty much why he won the election. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think that's valid. I think that's one of them. I think there's a number of different reasons. We've talked about that. I mean, I think the fact that she's a woman, there's a lot of bigots out there. The fact that she's a woman of color played a role. The fact that she only had 3 months to campaign certainly played a role as well. I like Tim Walz. I think he's a good man. I think he could have been a better pick for VP. And there's a lot of ill-informed and uneducated people out there that don't understand cause and effect, and they thought their grocery prices would drop. They thought their 401ks would grow, and they thought Donald Trump would do anything and everything to help them. And now, slowly but surely, some of them are starting to learn that there were a bunch of lies that were told, and it's not happening.
I tell you, they're like crickets. They're like crickets right now. They're like making no social media posts. They know they don't have anything to back up their beliefs now, so they're like. You're just crickets now, and it's just so amazing and amusing to see this.
Crickets with some of them. So, I don't disagree. There's certainly crickets with some of them, but some of them are also very loud as well. But I certainly hear what you're saying, my friend, and I really do appreciate your call. Let's go to Chris. Chris is next up on PTL. Hello, Chris.
Hey, hi, Brian. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure.
I just wanted to make a comment, to kind of counterpoint Herb and his belief on autism. I believe, I just saw MD speaking about this the other day. I believe the rise in autism, some of the numbers are, is the way, we're more aware of it with testing and things like that, and they test more for it now.
Yeah.
I get really into a topic too, but that, it's putting people on the spectrum. It's not even necessarily a negative thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people with autism have great talent, and they're really good people. And it's, it's to tie it to a vaccine to me is just ludicrous.
Well, it is. It's despicable. It's disgusting. It's medical misinformation, my friend, and I'm up against the clock here. I appreciate your call. And the fact that anybody would listen to anything, it's like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking about men being faithful. Would you read that book? How important it is to be faithful when he's been a cheater his whole life. I mean, to me, it's the same thing. It's ridiculous. Let's go to Doris. Doris is next up on PTL. Hey, Doris, what's going on?
Yes, hi, Brian. How are you?
Hey, good.
I just have a quick message for Herb. My son is autistic, and every time I say Donald Trump's name, my son will come out and say, that a-hole, and he says the word. So at least he recognizes one when he sees one, Herb. So that really says a lot about you, and that's all I have to say, Brian. Thank you so much.
Your son sounds like a smart guy.
Yes, he is. His name is Ryan. Yes, he is. He is.
Well, tell Ryan he's good in my book, and he sounds like a smart young man. So, Doris, thank you for calling in. I appreciate that.
And thank you, Brian.
Thank you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Connie. Connie is next up on PTL. Hey, Connie, what's going on?
Hi, Brian. This is Connie. I had to call. Herb's kind of awoken a monster when he takes on the moms of special needs kids, especially the autistic kids.
Sure.
He doesn't have any idea that there were autistic children clear back way back. Like, I can't remember the lady that just said it. But I worked in classrooms for special ed, and I usually got one-on-ones with the kids that were autistic, and some of them pretty severe. I worked for Special Olympics for 23 years. Mm-hmm. I know these kids. They're the most fantastic kids you could ever get a hold of.
Yeah. Absolutely. And anytime
I know those that work every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know those that work in the hospitals. They, you know, his comment about them not earning money, not paying taxes, they do. They do.
Well, they
but
do.
He's awakened a crowd now.
Well, that's
he
what
doesn't know what he's doing when he's messing with special.
Yeah, but that's what these people do. These MAGA morons. This is what they do. They say things. They think they're infectious disease experts. They think that they're experts when it comes to autism. They think they're experts when it comes to election integrity and women and their bodies. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're professionals at being idiots and imbeciles. They have no idea what they're talking about. They have no expertise. Many of them are unemployed. Many of them don't want to work or certainly couldn't get a job because they have no skills at all whatsoever. And you know, some of them call into this show and they say stupid, idiotic things. And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to put up with it. I'll take their call, but I'm not going to put up with their stupidity, and I will call it out every time, you know?
Well, I also have a great-grandson who has autism. He's 7, or will be 7 in May. And he reads, he knows his alphabet, he knows he knows just about everything you could need. He doesn't like math, but it doesn't mean he doesn't know it and doesn't care about it.
Right, of course. Well, you know, it's important that there are people like you out there. I'm sure you're a great influence on him, and it's great to hear from you. And I'm humbled to hear all these people calling in saying that they either have a son or a daughter or a grandson or a granddaughter that has autism, that are setting the record straight. And I'll tell you something, I'd rather listen to people like you than some imbecile who calls into this show that has no idea what they're talking about, or some moron like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Let's go to Rose. Rose is next on PTL. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Brian. How are you today?
Hey, good. What's on your mind today?
Hope you had a wonderful weekend.
I did.
And I'm just calling you regarding the autism, and I do have a grandchild, a grandson. I raised him from when he started kindergarten, and he graduated last year. He, all through school, got straight A's.
Wow.
Mind it, he has autism, right? They are not stupid. They're capable of doing anything anybody else can do. I mean, there's some that have little more problems than my grandson did, but he helped other kids, like they've sent him down when he's in 2nd grade to help first graders learn how to read. He did things like that, top an ACT test. And my poor grandson, he's so socially awkward because of the autism, and he makes noises, and he gets embarrassed, and kids bullied him at school, and he would hide underneath his desk. But he's a great kid. He's not working.
What's his name?
He's afraid to get a job because people make fun of him.
My dear, what's his name, my dear?
His name is Jaden.
Jaden. Okay. Well, you know what? You know, Jaden, if he's listening out there, we're all thinking about you, and everything's going to be good, and we need to all enjoy life and have fun and be around good people. And I'm sorry, you said you are, this is your son?
It's my grandson.
It's your grandson. I'm sorry. It's your well, it sounds like he has a great grandparent in you. And that is what is so important about this, right? Can you imagine if Herb had a son or a daughter that had autism? Like, can you even imagine some of these MAGA idiots? You know, I'm so glad that there are people like you out there that do such a great job in raising these children, because, you know, they grow up to be fine people. I'm sure he's going to grow up to be a fine adult, a fine young man, and a great adult that's going to treat others with respect and is a meaningful person in society that will be able to have a full life. And that's really what this is all about. We want we want everyone to live their life to the fullest of their abilities and be around good people who love them, and then they love back. That's what life is all about.
Great heart. Yes, his heart is big.
Well, you know what? It sounds like he might take a little bit after you, my dear. I really do appreciate you calling in, and I appreciate you sharing your story about him. We're thinking about him as well. Let's go to Beverly as we wrap this up. What's up, Beverly?
Hi, Brian. I was just calling. I wanted to say, first of all, that my heart goes out to the children as well as the parents who have to take care of them.
Yep.
But no matter what, Robert Kennedy is an embarrassment, as well as most of the cabinet that this man has with him, because none of them know what they're talking about, and they have fooled the people into thinking they are the geniuses, and they're not. They have no idea what it takes for a parent or a family to take care of an autistic child or anyone with Down syndrome or any other, illness or disability, he should resign because he does not even sound like someone who has health.
So I agree with you, obviously. Resign is not in his vocabulary. Just like Donald Trump, he cares more about self-power and ego than he does about anything else. And again, think about this for a moment. Somebody with zero, and we got to run. I'm sorry, I'm up against the clock, my dear. I appreciate you. Zero medical credentials is in the charge of our health. And the MAGA imbeciles out there are all okay with it, people like Herb. Maybe I'll take a quick survey here before we go. Do you think I should ban Herb from the show? I say no, because I think he exposes a big problem that we have in this country, which is misinformation and pure idiocy. But I'll let you guys maybe decide on that one. YouTube Super Chats, we got to go to it real quickly here. I think we're running out of time, and that's my apology. I didn't get to them earlier. So when I get that, we get these YouTube super Riot Town. Nancy Mace looks like a scarecrow and acts like one too. Thank you for your donation, Riot Town. We really do appreciate you. Reaver says, first JD Vance breaks the trophy in half. Now he shakes the Pope's hand, and he died the next day. FFS, stop letting JD Vance shake their hands. Yeah, I agree with you. Lisa says, didn't Nostradamus predict this? Lisa, maybe, perhaps. Thank you for your support. And, of course, Aaron, the right wing is for selfish people who cry at their sister's birthday party because they didn't, I didn't read the rest there, but because they didn't get a present, too. Cheers from Australia. Thank you. Aaron, it's great to hear people like you out there from Australia. Pushingthelimits.live is the website where you can make donations. We appreciate it if you already have. And, of course, the YouTube Super Chat. Keep supporting what we do here. We're going to keep putting on a great show for all of you. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch that's going to be joining us tomorrow, and maybe some other special guests later. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn?